What's up, CPC fans? It's your friend Choice CJ here, coming back to you with another installment of our weekly MVP series. We had a pretty nice inaugural week last week, kicking it off with our friend Sai, honoring Trev and his Mega Pidgeot for week number 1. We are unfortunately here alone this week, but that's no problem. We have lots of really awesome games to look over as we prepared for this video this week. There were some of the longest games that I think I've ever seen all in 1 week of the league. There were 2 games that were almost 100 turns, several games that were 40 or 50 turns, certainly a few speedy ones, but overall a very interesting week just in how long it was. There were lots and lots and lots of worthy candidates this week, and it was a really hard choice to pick who I wanted to recognize as the MVP this week. So I do want to give a special shout out to a couple of honorable mentions this week. Do want to shout out Clefable from the Golden State War Turtles. Was able to get a nice Calm Mind sweep at the end of the game. I think the Clefable benefited a little bit from the lack of a sludge wave from a Volcanion. I think a Volcanion would have 2-hit KO'd if it had just clicked the sludge wave twice instead of going for the Steam Eruption. Also, you gotta give a big special shout out to the Cresselia from the San Antonio Sparse, coached by Will. That thing, after skillfully dodging a Mega Horn from a Nidoking, was able to pretty much single-handedly wear down his opponent. And interesting fact, the Cresselia didn't even land a direct kill in the game. It landed 4 passive kills from 3 Toxics and 1 Rocky Helmet kill, which is kind of funny. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before. Also big shout out to the Mauville Mighty Hyenas, who had a really solid Jolteon set this week, rocking the Iron Tail as good coverage for a Mega Diancie and the expected specially defensive Kyurem. Kyurem is normally a very, very good counter to Jolteon, just because it doesn't have very many moves to hit it all that hard. They were able to take advantage of that and go for Iron Head, and benefited from a lack of misses. I think there was 1 miss that the Jolteon did have on an incoming Vaporeon, but I'm certain that didn't do much damage anyway. So those probably, if you look at the kill charts, are the top 3 Pokemon of the week, and you're probably wondering who is the number 1 for this week then. I've selected Mega Beedrill from the Emerald City Melodics, coached by Rider Phase, as the MVP of the week. Now, I'm sure this is a little bit controversial, given that the Beedrill only was on the game for 3 turns, and it was the first 3 turns of the game. But I think that Rider Phase deserves a lot of credit here. He identified the fact that his opponent did not have any hazard removal, and decided that the best way to abuse that would be to bring a Toxic Spikes Beedrill. And not only did he bring Toxic Spikes Beedrill, he brought a Beedrill that seemed to have quite a bit of defensive investment, whether it was just full HP or full HP with some defense investment. I'm not 100% sure, but as you can see, after the Garchomp sets up its Stealth Rocks, it goes for a Dragon Claw on this Beedrill, and it only does like 49%. So if you're not aware, and I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not, Beedrill has base 40 physical defense, which is pretty much garbage. But in the meantime, a Garchomp, being a awesome pseudo-legendary Pokemon that it is, has a base 130 attack. Even uninvested, it should be doing a ton to Beedrill, but was able to tank it. And the Beedrill was able to get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes. The Toxic Spikes didn't even result in any kills this game, but the amount of pressure that it applied to the Florida for Alligators was just insane. They were constantly having to go for rest on their Pokemon. They interestingly brought 2 Pokemon with rest this week, being the Garchomp and the Suicune. It was such a smart bring, because Mega Absol is kind of the only hazard deterrent, but it's not going to want to take a U-turn from a Mega Beedrill. Probably another reason it had so much investment was so that it could tank a Sucker Punch from that Absol, knock it out with a U-turn or a X-Scissor if needed, and then proceed to set up more hazards. So I just thought it was a really smart bring. It allowed the Melodics to really wear down the Feraligators team, and it set up the conditions for a really epic Statland sweep at the end. Shout out to my boy Waffles, really putting in the work, taking out a Tornadus T, a Suicune, and the Mega Absol for the win. Statland probably ought to be in the honorable mentions as well for cleaning up the game. So that is going to be it for our week number 2 of the MVP series for CPC. I hope you guys enjoyed. I understand that the Beedrill may not be a traditional candidate for this sort of series, but I just really wanted to highlight kind of, how smart I thought that set was. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to sub to the CPC channel to get more analysis videos like this, and be sure to check out all of the coaches to stay up to date on all of the latest league matches. Once again, this has been your friend Choice CJ, and until the next time, I will see you guys later.